All right, welcome to Flow 360. Today we have Xinning Wang with us.
Yes, thank you.
He's a software engineer. I'm very happy to have him here with us today, and I want to ask him some questions about the field of software engineering and then his background, life story.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get it started. Obviously, you were born and raised in China.
Yeah.
Right. So, can you share us some memories of you growing up in China? How was your early childhood life?
Well, it's normal. I mean, I was simple city kid, going to school. Normal. It already feels so long.
Yeah.
I spent almost my entire adulthood over here. I came to the US when I was 18. So before that, I was really your typical stereotype Asian kid. Like just go to school. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in terms of what you see here in the US, how kids have phones, gadgets, and everything. Like, is that something that happens in China as well? Where like, how is the early stages of life? Like, what are they more focused on? School, career? What is it? What is it like growing up in China, from your point of view?
Yeah, from my point of view, for sure. And then I think there is a time factor there as well. Like, when I was in China during middle school or elementary school, that was like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So like, I'm pretty sure like 10, 15 years ago over here in the US is different from what is this
from
today.
now. Yeah.
For sure. But in terms of like, if you're talking about like gadgets, technology, that kind of stuff, like obviously early 2000, there's not that much going on. But for sure, I remember like, I think I experienced very interesting time of China. I was living in Beijing. Like there was there was Olympic going on. There was, like Expo in Shanghai 2010. Like that was my middle school or like high school years. That was pretty fun. So.
And you said that the Olympics happening in Beijing.
Yeah, that was like literally 10-minute walk from my place. And
really?
Then, yeah, it was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you guys attended games and stuff?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to like 2000s camera trying to zoom in on Usain Bolt. Like that was pretty cool.
Nice. That's awesome, dude. Another question that I had for you was coming in, obviously, after finishing your high school in China. How was that experience? Because obviously you came to Ohio State, right? And then all of a sudden, like, were you shocked with the culture and everything, or how was that?
I think I have a very unique experience there. I think I was more shocked compared to most other Chinese students over here because I never told the story to you, but I never planned to come abroad for a study. I was going to go to college in China, and then one thing led to another. I screwed up sorry, is that a loud language?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's totally
I screwed up the annual college entrance exam by doing the Scantron in the wrong order.
Oh wow!
So I threw away, I don't know, like 100 points or something, and then like the only choice I had was to like do another year just to take the exam again because like we don't have SATs, just like an annual thing. I don't want to waste that time, so I just like scrambled everything together. I think from the time that I decided I want to go abroad to the time I actually boarded a plane, it was like a month and a half.
Wow.
So yeah, obviously I didn't prepare for anything, and just got started. Like first semester as a Chinese kid, I got a D in one of my math classes. That's how bad I was adapting. But I think it worked out.
In terms of like the experience, obviously we know Ohio State is a big football campus, right? Like in terms of attending sports, and obviously football is a new thing, right?
Yeah.
What was your feeling? What was your thoughts on the sports at the first sight that you had?
Well, it was definitely pretty wild because obviously I don't think anywhere else in the world you have this sort of college sports going on. At first I thought it was a school thing, then I realized it might be like a city of Columbus thing, then I realized it's like a whole state thing.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of like game weekends, everybody drive like 2-3 hours from all over the state actually just come for a college game. It's pretty wild. And then some of my friends were, buying season tickets and trying to make money off the Michigan game and stuff. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. In terms of your visa status at the time. You were under F1 visa?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. And is it a big thing in China where like a lot of people come study abroad, or not really?
I think when I was coming over, it was like early. It was 2012. I think at the time the number was pretty wild. Okay. I think like past few years because of COVID, number has died down a little bit. But yeah, definitely like I think 2012 to like all the way to like 2017, 18. That was the peak of it.
Okay. And you got your bachelor's on computer science?
I was a finance major actually.
Finance major. Okay. Okay, and then you went to George Washington University for your master's.
Correct? Yeah. Master was in data science. It's mainly like statistics, computer. Okay. It's more that oriented, and then on the software like development, that stuff that I kind of picked up on the way.
Okay, and for you, Capital One internship you mentioned was your kind of a first work experience, right?
Yeah.
What did you learn from it? What was your thought? Like, you thought, oh my gosh, why did I get my degree in this? Or like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna enjoy.
Honestly, like that, I didn't really enjoy that experiences. That was my first exposure to corporate America. I feel like it's not what I wanted. I always enjoy like something that I have a little bit more control, more like I'm a more vision driven kind of guy. That's why like ever since that time I've been like working in a smaller team, startup kind of environment where I know like what I'm shooting towards. So I think it fits my personality better, and then that experience definitely helped me to like narrow down what are my interests are.
Okay. Well, any words of wisdom for people that are interested in your field, or like some pros and cons, anything that you have?
I mean, I'm not trying to speak as if I'm like an expert in the field, but like I feel like the whole data science AI thing is like right now in 2023, end of 2023, we're looking at it. It's a little overrated. I think people just feel like it's cool. All the AI, machine learning, that kind of buzzword, and like a lot of people pouring in without really knowing what it is. And then the truth is, in the job market, it's already shown like supply and demand is not really in your favor if you're just getting into the field. So I mean, like, just I guess don't follow the herd. I guess that's my only thing I want to say.
Okay. As for your startup, Inorsa, what do you guys do, and what's the main focus on that team?
Yeah, so it's a SaaS company. SaaS stands for software as a service. So at the end of the day, it's a software tech company that we're developing a B2B software for infrastructure owners. So think about it as like a TurboTax. When TurboTax started, there's like everybody doing the tax on some paper, and then it's like a very traditional industry, and then someone comes in and try to automate what is right now done by hand, which is like a very rule-based system. There's not a lot of complexity. It's very rule-based. So that's the type of work the computer is the best in. That's what we're trying to do for right now. We're starting with the telecom industry, and like a lot of things that you see, all these like towers, infrastructures, when let's say any carriers want to expand their 5G network in a city, they need to do all these construction drawings, and then that's what we are automating right now. And then I think next year we're trying to expand into like solar, EV charging, like all these civil engineering tasks we're trying to automate.
Okay, that brings me to ask you a question. Like, in terms of obviously we know that the field of tech, there's a high demand at times, and then there is the how they let go of lots of people. Like, were you guys in fear when all the people were letting go of their workers, or like what was happening? What was your thought at that time?
I mean, for us, because we are a startup, like right now today we only have 8 full-time, including myself, including the CEO, including the founder. So we're a very small team. So there's no such thing as saying, hey, we need to cut like a team, or like, everybody is doing 3 people's job. So like it's not like, you know, we're growing. We're not in the stage where we overhire or anything. On the other end, when economy is bad, only the government has money. And we kind of are in the infrastructure business, so we are good, you know, like so a lot of money on infrastructure, a lot of money in like, you know, fiber telecommunication. So that's like we kind of benefit from it. And then in terms of like talent, we're growing as everybody's else is letting people go, so we are able to find a lot of talent on the market too.
Let's talk about in terms of family structure and life and support. How much meaningful is that for you all in terms of being a foreign student? You know, obviously you can't really travel back and forth all the time during holidays and breaks, right? How important is family structure for you?
I think definitely very important. Like my parents are always been very supportive when it comes to education. They were like, there was no like, first of all, like from realistically speaking, there's no pressure for me. I need to get into the workplace soon, like just to support my family financially. There was really never that. It was always about my development as like myself, you know, what I wanted to do. So, and my parents told me, like, you know, even if I never really went down that route, but like, for example, at one point I thought about going to like a PhD program, just get my doctorate, that type of thing. My mom was always like, you know, like, as long as this school education will pay for it, like, don't worry about that. So I always had that option. And then definitely very important to me. And then I was able to make my own decisions, and then, you know, without having too much of other kinds of pressure. So
and a question for you that might make you think a little bit is, you know, as a kid we always have like a dream or goal that I want to be a doctor or this or that. What was your goal to be when you were young?
To be honest, I never really had like a very tangible, like very specific, like I wanted to be a doctor. But as I was talking about earlier with my, you know, experiences with like big companies, small companies, that type of thing, I think I was a very impact driven. So I need, like, even if I do like a very tech job, I hate to be in a role where just someone tells me what to do and I do it. I need to be able to see the big picture, like, hey, we as a team, and then I'm part of the team, and we're building towards something, and then hopefully that will make a big impact. That's part of the reason I, you know, took my risk of always, like, past 4 or 5 years I've been working in a very, you know, risky early stage startup kind of environment, and I feel that really
have you always been team-oriented person?
Team-oriented person, I'm learning. I think the past year, I think I just really like start to pick up, and then like how to manage people, like run a like small team, and try to. Before, I was mostly like, if something happened, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up late tonight to do it on my own. But I soon to realize, you know, I cannot just do this forever. I'm starting to pick up, but you know, that's definitely something new for me.
Okay. And in terms of the software field, the tech field, do you know, well, I guess teamwork really matters, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And for people that are coming in the field, do you suggest them to be, you know, a little more team-oriented people than just individual goal? What is more important for people who are trying to get in that field?
My very honest answer is, I think both works. Talented people comes in all shape forms. So like we are, like, as a very small team, as I said, like, you know, including everyone, we have 8 people right now. We're trying to create an environment where, as long as, you know, you're talented, you know what you're doing, you know, you're committed to like the mission of company, like regardless of a personality, we should be able to create an environment where you feel comfortable to contribute, right? If you're a people person, sure, like be a manager, you know, like, you know, run stuff, go talk to client. If you're just like, you know, a nerdy R&D guy, we leave you alone. So I don't, you know, I don't think that I need to pick and choose in that regard. I think that's not healthy in a way.
Okay. Lastly, I wanted to ask you a question regarding like how connected are Chinese communities within the state? Are they pretty connected? Do you all have a big population, especially here in Austin, where even during your college time,
Mm-hmm.
was it were you guys connected together or no?
I think the community is big enough that it kind of diversified within its own. It's not like, for example, you're from Nepal. Like, there's not that many Nepalese people in Austin. Let's say if you're able to find like 20 people from Nepal, you guys are pretty close. But like easily I'll find 20,000 Chinese people in Austin. So like, we cannot hang out all together. So I kind of like go into, different groups, like people who has been here for 20 years, they might have their own groups. People who graduate from UT might have their own thing. People from, a certain big tech company here has their own thing. So like, I think, sure, obviously everybody has like a Chinese community around them, but like, at the same time, they're pretty isolated in its own way.
Something give me something that you really 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 miss about China.
It's more food or food. I think it's mostly just food, and then and then like families and stuff.
Okay. Any advice for people who are thinking about tech or coming to the US for education? Any advices?
I think keep an open mind. Like definitely there's a culture, everything. There's a huge difference. Just because we have such a big Chinese community over here, I see a lot of students kind of like never really had to step out of their comfort zone. People came here for 4 or 5 years of school, like never even have a non-Chinese friend. That happens. I think that only really happens for Chinese students. And then keep an open mind. That's really what it is.
Okay. Well, thank you, Xinning, for coming on my podcast and being here. We're pleased to have you here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.